So here, what we're going to do is the first exercise that every new developer goes through in their environment, and that is the Hello World exercise. So what you can do is open here this ReplIT window. So, and you'll click through to it and it will open in a new window. I know you cannot see those windows, but this is what you're going to see. Now, if it says something about forking, this is actually as good a time as any for this to come up. What a fork means is, if you think about the physical structure of a fork, you've got the stem, right? That's the part you hold on to, and then you've got the splines. Those are the teeth on the fork. What we're saying in development when we have a fork is the original development is like, you know, the spine, or not the spine, the stem portions. And what we'll do is we'll create a new copy for each one of those spines. So when you create a fork, it's going to ask you to sign in, which you'll go ahead and do. If you haven't already done so, you can actually sign up for an account here. And what that's going to do is take a copy of my code and put a new fresh copy in with your code. So this way what happens is you can change what you need to change, and my code is unaffected. And this is one of the fantastic reasons that we use ReplIT. So now that you've signed in with ReplIT, you'll see that you've got a new forked copy of the code that I had produced for you here. Now, let me just walk you around what you're seeing here in the ReplIT window so that it doesn't feel that you won't know how to interact here. So up in the upper left-hand corner, this is called, for those of you who are in the biz, the three dots or the three lines is called a hamburger icon. I didn't make that up, but a hamburger has those pieces, right? Bun, burger. So there you have it. If I was to click on that, that would take me back to my account. You can see my account right here, eWolf. Here, this is what I was talking about before in the installing Java video, was kaleidoscopic vice or nice volcano. That doesn't mean anything, right? It is a randomly generated URL for this piece of code. The problem with this is, if I was to accidentally close my ReplIT window, this is unavailable to me moving forward. So if you're signed in, which I am now, if you're signed in, you can actually save this. This will show up in your code, which you can access by going through here, the burger menu. We will add files later on down the line, but for right now, know that main.java is what's happening right over here. And you can see that again right here at the top of that tab. Main.java, this is where we start running a Java applet. So we will add more .java files later on, but you will always need a main.java to drive all of those programs. So you can have, you know, dozens of .java or there's other kinds of files. We'll talk about those later. I don't want to do that now. But you can have other kinds of files here, but you will always need a main.java because the runtime environment is going to look for this to get started with. So that's what we've got going on over here. In our main window, that's the one here in the middle, you'll see our actual code. And now we'll go into what all of these different pieces mean specifically as we get into chapters 1 and 2 and 3, but know that these are bits of code. Now, this is an integrated developer's environment, so it does things for us like, you can see it's doing, this is called syntax highlighting. So main is in white because that is a name that you would give. Class is a reserved keyword. Those keywords here for classes are in blue. Here, that is also a keyword, capital S string. Here, system.out.println or println, those are keywords as well. And we'll get into it next week how that happens. What I want for you to be able to do is have the text with you to be able to see some of these keywords. So what we are saying here on line number 4, so you can see these line numbers over here. On line number 4, we're saying that we've got a string. A string is a collection of characters. We're going to call that string intro. And intro contains these characters: hello world from intro and the exclamation point. Now you'll notice we've got the double quotes. Here, everything inside of double quotes goes out over here in the console to the user. Here is a system.out.println, and we're saying hello world, just like that. And here is a system.out.println, so that goes over into the console here, where we simply print the intro. None of that has to make sense right now. That's what next week is for. Over here, we'll click on run. Now, let me tell you that this is not unusual. Notice the timing. There we go. It took, roughly speaking, 3 to 5 seconds for the output window to be populated with the code that we were running from in here. It's because of the nature of how a Java application actually runs. Now, next week at the top of session 2, you're going to see a video in there on the different parts of how a Java applet actually runs. But for the time being, the things to know here are: number 1, have a ReplIT account. Number 2, your files show up here under the hamburger menu. Number 3, main.java. This is where you'll keep your stuff. Number 4, this is where you'll write. Your stuff is over here in the main window. To see anything in the output console over here on the right, you'll actually have to click run. And the final thing to know here is that once you hit run, it still takes 3 to 5 seconds to see an output over here, just because of the way that Java is actually running. So there you have it, folks. That is the first week's worth of material for CIS240 Java. Congratulations, you've survived 1 out of 16, and we'll keep going.